Hello. Oh, I can't do that, can I? I've stolen that from somebody else. Hello. How are you all? Hope you're all doing marvelously well. It is 12 p.m. on that's in Pacific Standard Time. I think it's Pacific Standard Time, PST. I presume that's what it means. I don't think I've ever actually thought about it. But anyway, on a lovely day in sunny, and it is actually sunny, so don't feel sorry for me, sunny Los Angeles. Although I just walked into the house to come through to the studio, and Connor's got the heat blasting, because it must be freezing in there. Yep. Anyway, so here we are. It's a lovely day. It's 12, and I'm very excited to carry on with this mix. This is Michael Humphreys kindly giving us this session. It's his cover of Crazy that he recorded live, fully live, with some incredible musicians. So I believe this is Bianca on drums, isn't it? Is this Bianca on drums? Bianca, are you here? Are you on drums? Anyway, it's a wonderful set of musicians, and it's very, very exciting. And for those of you, I did mix this a few months ago, hybrid fashion through the console. So what we're doing here is seeing if we can beat it in the box. So it's a beat it, beat it in the box. I think we'd probably get sued if we use that as a theme tune. And I'm probably about to get demonetized because I just did beat it. Oh, well. C'est la vie. Blocked. Anyway, here we are. I haven't listened to it since, so let's check out where we left off. And first of all, before we actually go any further, we'd like to say a big thank you for DistroKid for sponsoring this video. Yes, they are paying Eric's wages on this one. So, woohoo! Yes, Eric's getting paid to do this. Otherwise, what? You normally do it for free? If only. He loves Producer Pro so much that he works for free. Not. No, so DistroKid are a rather wonderful company that have just started working with us to enable us to do these live streams every single Monday. And I'm even going to be doing it. I wonder if I can do it from England. I'm going to be in England, literally in the UK, but in England in about a week. Actually, I'm flying a week today. But I think I'm going in the early evening, so I'll still be able to do this. And we're going to spend a few days at the greatest, most famous studio in the world. I'll let you guess what that is. So that's going to be a lot of fun. But once again, thank you, DistroKid. So why do we support DistroKid? We actually support DistroKid because, yes, they're another amazing service that puts your music up online all over the world. Great. And they're in all the stores, all the obvious ones like the iTunes and the Spotifys and the Pandoras and all that stuff. But what makes them unique, and the reason why we're behind them, is because as producers, engineers and mixers and artists, one of the most difficult things is when you produce something, and especially when you do a deal and somebody comes into your local studio and they're like, I can only pay you half right, but I'll get you paid on the back end. You know how difficult it is to collect that money? Really freaking difficult. I have so many independent records I've made where I've never made a dime in residual income, but I've had contracts written, cost me thousands of dollars to do it with lawyers and all this stuff, and yet I still don't get paid on the back end. What DistroKid does is makes it very simple. Get you and the artist to sign up to DistroKid, put it out, and once, literally as you're putting in all of the details, you can go, well, who is owed what from this? And let's just say you did a ridiculously killer deal and you own the track 50-50 with the artist. You know what? They enter your name and they enter your split on it, and the first stream that comes in and pays a 0.001 cent, you get half of that 0.001 cent. It's beautiful. And the artists I've done it with all make me money. And it is absolutely superb. I love that. Not only that, sometimes I release it on my own label through DistroKid, and then I get paid, and they get paid without me having to do any accounting. It's beautiful. So when you go and stream some of the artists I work with that are on our label, they're getting paid directly. When we do music like this, if it's a band I've worked with and you see ad revenue, it gets split 50-50 between the artist and me. It's a beautiful, beautiful thing. So I love DistroKid for that. It is the most professional of all the systems out there, and it is why we as producers, engineers, mixers, songwriters, musicians, whatever it is, however you've structured a deal, you can now get it done. So whenever a streaming cent comes in, it gets split the right way. And it works. and I get decent income from it. I'm not retiring to the Seychelles quite yet. Eric is not buying his dream house in the Bahamas. He's eyeing it out. But what is happening is I'm getting proper residual income from independent artists. So I 100% support it. And DistroKid actually is doing a 30% off deal. So if you're not already signed up to him, go and sign sign up for that. Dave is saying my voice is low. Anybody else think my voice is low? Do you need to be turned up? 1, 2, 2, 3, 4, 5. It's the same level here, I think.
Yeah, that's the same level.
Are you hearing it at the same level?
Sounds well,
Okay. Smash the like button, says Tom. Thank you, Tom. Volume is fine, says Mark. Karen says it's low and overdriven. It is low. Voice is fine, says Miles. Sounds fine here. Sounds fine here in my studio. I think, unfortunately, it comes down to independent, different internets. The other thing is make sure when you go to settings, go and hit the quality and go to 1080. Because if you go to auto, it will default to like 360 or 480, and it'll probably sound like this. So make sure you're on the highest possible setting you can be on. Okay, everybody's saying it's fine except for like 1 or 2 people, yeah. Okay, let's give it a listen. So yeah, make sure you're on HD or else you will not enjoy the sound of the track, which I have not heard since then. So go join DistroKid, and there is a 30% off. Here we go. I'm going to move it up a little bit further. The track's low. Go even further. I remember with this Prophet's a little bit out of tune. Let's go into where the band comes in. Thanks on the book. Oh, yes. Why not plug it? Have you bought the book yet? I don't see a link to it, but I'm sure somebody's going to put one up. Nope, not underneath the video. So can you put a link up to the book?
I will.
There should be a book linked to underneath all our videos. That would be rather wonderful. Yes, thank you. We have the privilege of having a #1 new releases book. And I think we had the #1 and #2 book in on Amazon for music. So if you haven't already got it, please get it. And I know, Tom. So Tom, with the signed copies, I order them from Amazon. And so I have to buy them from Amazon. They ship to me. I still haven't got them. Then I sign them and then I ship them all to you individually. That's why it's expensive, because I have to double ship it. Isn't that nuts? C'est la vie, but it's all good. For those of you that ordered signed copies, they will be going out as soon. Trevor says he bought 2 copies. Wow. And we will be doing an audio version. We just haven't got around to it yet because it's a lot of work. And Robert says the hardcover because he's really hardcore.
Remember when I lost my mind? There was something so pleasant about that place. You know, lost in that necklace, so much space. So way out there, without a care, yeah, I was out of touch. I just need some love.
I just want to listen to this Prophet. So I like this kind of 80s piano here. It's so like late 80s, early 90s. Erasmo bought 2 copies as well. Wow. Let's get some. I'm listening to it and I'm liking it. It's an interesting one because it's live. So let's be really blunt for those of you with good ears. It does sound like a DX7, doesn't it? It sounds like a DX7 meets a Korg M1. There's like somewhere in the middle. It's probably a DX Tritonon 1 and I don't know what it is. Could even be a virtual thing, but it's probably a keyboard. So I'm listening to this thinking to myself, it's dry. It could do with some more width. It's a live recording. I don't mind if this has got more verb generally everywhere. You know, I think we should do it. Oh, Pete's already got his copy. Please, for those of you that have got the book and love it, please leave us a glowing review on Amazon. A 5-star review is always most welcome. I've seen somebody's already done that. Thank you ever so much. I really appreciate it. But also post a photo of you holding it. It's huge and it warms the cockles of my heart. When I on Saturday and Sunday from the masterclass, and then on Sunday I was reposting everything. It was so much fun. So please send me a photo. Please post about it is what I'm asking. So let's have some fun. Let's just start setting up some verbs. Let's not forget that this is a live recording, and we need this to sound a bit more live. It's very dynamic. I think maybe a bit too dynamic at the beginning. I think I'm just going to get in there and clip gain this. I'm just going to clip gain it. It's just, it just needs a little bit more oomph to it. It's nice that it's subtle and dynamic. Don't get me wrong. I have nothing against subtle and dynamic. It's just, yeah. Now, I don't know what DAW you're all using, but anything that you can get in there and just even it out without necessarily, breaking a compressor to do it. You don't always have to compress. Sometimes you can just gain it. So as you can see, I think let's have some fun with this. So let's get the horns and just give them a little oomph. Now we've been leaving this pretty dynamic, and that's what we're going to do. Don't get me wrong. We are going to leave this pretty dynamic, but we are going to add gentle compression here and there just to even it out ever so slightly. We are allowing the performers to perform. Don't get me wrong. But at the same time, there's always going to be unevenness in it. As you can see, I got in and gained that. If you haven't watched the last episode, please do. So we're going to make this a horns subgroup, and it's a tough one. There's a little bit of pitchiness on it, and I'm deciding, do I go in there and help that out? Do we do that? Do we get in there and do that, or do we leave it? I'm just going to grab the most generic compressor, which for me, everybody has their own preference, but for me is an RVox. An R-Comp. But you know what? I'm going to use Pulsar 1178. Now, Pulsar 1178, these are some really good guys. There are a couple of French guys and an Italian, and they do some really, really good stuff, and I really feel like their 1178 is wonderful. You can go nuts on this. The graphics are amazing, as you can tell. This is a pretty darn good. They're not paying me to do this, by the way. I haven't talked to them in ages, but let's go and put it on the fastest release time here. Let's go to like 4:1. There's some bleed there of some cymbals that's some of it's good, some of it's not. I'm going to grab OX Sound. I'm throwing all the big guns on this one. You hear that? Where is that? That's horrible. That's been really good for the cymbals. You hear that little squeak? Let's see how it's in the track. That's really nice for killing those cymbal bleed. Pretty tasty. But you hear it? Squeak, squeak. It's like a little artifact that I think is about 6K-ish. Let's try something here. So we're just going to grab, we'll just grab an REQ. You know what? We're going to go all over the place here. Let's go and see some of Steven's stuff. Does Steven even own this anymore? He sold it, didn't he? Steven doesn't do he just got his name. I don't know who owns Slate plugins anymore, but there it is. So widen it just a little bit. Been doing this a long time, so when I say it's about 6K, it definitely is. It's about 6 to 7. So let's now do this. So what I'm doing is I'm going to boost the high end either side of it. And it's going into the OX sound. So what's going to happen is the OX sound's going to like adjust for that extra stuff. And so what I'm doing is I'm going to come along here. So I'm going to make it feel like if you were to look at this on a graph, you know, it's cutting and boosting either side of it. There's still a little bit in there, but not as bad. See what it sounds like in the track. Because I noticed it in the track, and that's the thing I care about. I'm only going into solo to find where is it? Ah, still hear it. All right, I'm going to look past it for a minute and see whether it bothers me. I mean, we definitely reduced it dramatically. It's one of those things you can't unhear it, can you? So let's get into what I was talking about. So I want to put a little bit of room on things. So I want to make a decision. What do you guys and girls think? Should we take a room, like maybe with a second reverb on it, and just put things in it just to make them all feel like in it? Why don't we try that? Why don't we try some fancy plugin? Why don't we, what have we got that's fancy? So let's call this room. all. So this is going to be our room all. And I'm going to say, what should we choose? Let's have a look. Let's go to our reverb plugins. We don't want to blow up our computer, go too crazy. But what do we have? We have the Echo Plate, which is really nice. We haven't talked about them for a while. They were a great company. H-Verb, of course. The IRLs, those are pretty nice. We've got Little Plate, probably not that. The Neo Verb could be good. Oxford Reverb is great. The PSP stuff is fantastic. Nexcellence, the Easy Verb. I'm open here. I'm looking for ideas. Revolver, that was fantastic. Smart Reverb, of course, is wonderful. Spaced Out. We got a lot of schnizzle here. A lot. Ultraverb, Z-Verb, you name it. The Valhalla. We don't talk much about Valhalla. Here's the classics. See if it doesn't blow up our computer. 1, 2, 2, 2. Hasn't added any perceptible delay. Valhalla. Everybody's going Valhalla. We could have done the Abbey Road. Don't worry. We'll be talking about them soon. Okay, so this is the Verb Suites. Oh, that was the Verb Suites. That wasn't even the one I was going for. How did you get snuck in there? I was like, what? Vintage Verb. How did that get snuck in? Here we go. All right, concert hall, full seconds. Let's go room, chamber, random space, smooth plate, smooth room. Let's do smooth room. Let's bring it down to like, I don't know. Well, let's figure it out. So we do love Valhalla, and they don't get talked about enough. So let's just bring up the piano. That's nice. Just a taste of it. Just a taste. Oh no, there's the sunset as well. We could have done the sunset because what's interesting about that is I know that room really well. I'm not opposed to it, but we don't talk much about Valhalla, and it's a plugin that we all love. It's nice. I'm going to put a little gentle compression on this, just a shade. Why don't we do something generic? Can't get more generic than the Bomb Factory. I always joke about it. Looks like 1176, sounds like a generic compressor. So I think this is going to help us a lot because it's going to give us like a sense of this band in a room, which is what they are. So let's now go to the horns because we were just listening to those. And let's, from that horns bus, let's just send a little bit to it. Now we're listening too much in solo. We should not be doing this, but this is just to illustrate it. Patrick's saying the Capital is really good on horns. Probably should be doing it. Kind of liking that. So we haven't got anything going on for the vocal yet. So let's put in a bit into the lead vocal. Now there is other verb on the lead vocal, but let's... Super processed vocal there.
Crazy, crazy.
Now, if you go to the multi-tracks, there's actually some with RX on it and some without for all of the really excessive bleed. This was RX to remove that. However, you can mix it without that on. Go and download those multi-tracks and see it. And by the way, buy the book. Now, Eric did print all of the vocal effects that we use. And that's our lexicon. That is the PCM 90. So we give you those two, plus our widening trick, the H3000. So you get all of those too. Oh yeah, please hit the like button, and we'll do some giveaways as well. Now on this piano, listening here, I want to add I just want to do a little bit of schnizzle, some EQ here. I haven't done anything yet. We've been trying to keep this as gentle as possible, so I'm just going to get rid of some low lows and just give it a little bit of pizzazz, you know, just a little bit of high end here, nice and wide. Nothing surgical, just... Similarly to the vocal, we've got a Soothe 2 going on there, get rid of some of the de-essing and stuff, but we don't have any real, and then we're going into RVox, but before we go to RVox, I'm just going to remove the low lows, because I don't need to compress information that we're not going to keep. I'd rather remove that rather than just compress early on. So again, we'll just get an REQ, we'll go into low low stuff that we don't need. Again, nothing surgical, just brightening it up. Oh, I love 1176 on vocals. It's amazing. And you're right, the IK one is great because it has like a little bit of a bite to it. So you're getting me thinking. So we're going to go to the IK. Thank you very much for the suggestion. We do talk about it a lot, so let's practice what we preach. Let's grab the black phrase. 1176 IK. It's miraculous because it adds grit. It's getting there. It's starting to sound really great. So I just copied down all those settings to the other vocal. Now I'm sending to that, now I'm sending from the vocal to that reverb as well. So we got kind of doubling up on our verbs. I have no problem with that. And now it's going into that same room reverb that we created. So, okay, Robert, when I first reviewed that IK Multimedia 1176, that was the thing I found out about it, is that it has this extra bite to it that saves me using another EQ. So the fact that you discovered it at all is still great. This Prophet's interesting. I'm not even sure if it's going to stay, but there's some interesting stuff. I'm going to put some gentle compression on this. Fastest release time, which on Lem 76 is full right. Okay, we're getting there. Soothe is getting used a lot here. It's a necessary evil here for the vocal. We're going to gain up some of this stuff here. Again, don't be afraid to do things like this. Just gain it up, because if you're having a problem with getting it heard and you're just adding 15 compressors on it, turn it up. Turn it up. Use the volume.
I remember when I lost my mind. There was something so pleasant about that place. Keep me on lost and crazy. Something crazy. Something crazy.
So much bleed in there. I'm going to bring this phrase up because she's compensating for where the other two aren't singing along with her. I may cheat later and fly it over from somewhere else. Things happen. Okay, so I'm going to do some drum stuff now. We did some fun stuff on the drums. We're going to create another group. So what I'm doing now is I'm going to do an overall. So 11 and 12 is going to be a master drum group. So what I'm doing is I'm sending everything to an overall drum group, which we can have some fun with. So So now with this group, because the good thing is that I can do a couple of things. So I can do an overall drum group like this, where we'll call it drums, drum bus, drum auxiliary, drum sub, whatever you want to call it. And we can have some fun with it. You know, we could have some fun with it. We could go, why don't we do... See, I always used to do, back in ye olden days, I would actually grab a Fairchild, believe it or not, like a 670 emulation. Bring down those cymbals a little bit. Now we can send an overall thing from this drum bus to 9 and 10, so the overall room. So now we've got more things feeding into that room. Well, sending to a mono bus means that everything that would pan around would fold into the center. Obviously, keeping it as a stereo means that it will work nicely. Keeping all the panning. Okay, so next thing I'm going to do, just doing an overall compression, is do a little bit of EQ. Again, doesn't have to be something fancy. I'll just go in and use an REQ because it's easy to use. And I'll just do a little bit. You know what? I'll do a little bit of high passing, just down on the low lows, you know, like about 20-ish. Just through some high passing. I'll do a little bit of overall cut. Maybe I'll do a little bit of boost up here. And I can let you hear all of this, but this is just some generic stuff that we're going to do. And then a little bit of 60. So we've done all of that. Now, let's take that drum bus and duplicate it. Whoops, he says hitting the wrong button. So we're going to now duplicate it. So I'm going to keep all of the same plugins on it, like that. And now it's going to be a parallel. So we've done all that kind of fun stuff, but let's have some... Now that we've done that parallel and we've destroyed it a bit, we can actually bring the overheads down a little bit, because when you're destroying it like that, all of those overheads start to become, you know, really prevalent. So all I'm doing is bringing that down. Oh, if only I could spell parallel. Oh dear. All right. So it's the Magic Compressor for bass, the MV2. Just an awesome plugin. Mike just ordered the book. Thank you, everybody. The book is there. Okay, let's do a giveaway of a free membership to the Academy. This is a free one-year membership to the Academy. What do we want to know? I suppose just a dumb one. If you only had one plugin, I think I've asked this before, but I'm going to do it again. If you only had one plugin in the world that you currently own, not a wish list one, that you currently own, what is the one that you're leaning on all the time? For me, it's probably a combination of RBass or MV2 or Soothe 2. One of those three, can't live without. Thanks, Hugh just got the book. Thank you. So much bleed in that, but that's such a good sounding mic. I wonder, I mean, we could be nuts, couldn't we? We could do something really generic on this one here. So, you know, grab an EQ. So tough. There's so many areas. Yeah. It's a tough one with so much bleed, but we can have some fun with it. Let's grab Stephen or Stephen's X plugin. Who bought the Stephen's plugins? I can't remember. Anyone remember? That's where we were going before. That's where the tick, 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 tick is. And we were going down here for the body. I mean, these are the two areas that we were focusing on. I'm basically doing exactly the same thing I was doing with the REQ. Let's wax Soothe on it and see if it can take away some of the horrible, horrible overtones of stuff that we don't like. We're maxing out our Soothe. It's a bit better. Let's put some verb on it. It's a tough one because it's just all snare. See, my concern is now let's go somewhere where that's not playing. So I'm going to put Michael's lead guitar in the same reverb. I'm actually going to smother it a little bit. I love his guitar playing. Michael is a wonderful musician. Wonderful, wonderful. We are blessed to have him. He's been that good for absolutely ages. He's only 23 years old, and when I met him, he was 16, and he was that good. One of my favorite people, his family are ridiculously talented. His sister, we recorded about 6 or 7 years ago, is I don't know if she's a principal ballerina yet, but she's like 25 years old and a ballerina at the Boston Ballet, and is phenomenal, and is also a great singer as well. So very talented family, very high achievers. Because Michael is a wonderful jazz guitar player, but also a wonderful jazz piano player as well, and an arranger. Yeah, and a MD. Some of these mics like this, I don't know. I'm very, very tempted to mute it unless it's got something that really special. So tough. It's the strings, but there's so much bleed. I think that's Andy. We have KTLA LA5 arriving. Show him inside the house? Kasha should be here.
Kasha's right there.
Okay. It's so tough. Those strings of bleed there is so bad. Oh, yeah. This is where all kinds of fancy plugins. I'm going to get out a 27th version of Soothe. If it runs, look at that. Okay, so when people say to me, they say a lot of these plugins, they're like, oh, you know, my computer can't handle it. And I'm not saying it can't handle it, but I just got to be honest. I mean, we're running a 2009 Mac. Yes, a 14-year-old computer. We're streaming Pro Tools off of this on a 14-year-old Mac, running tons of really modern intensive things, and we're streaming live, and we never have any Pro Tools crashing. I don't get it. Everyone's like, everything crashes. But then I don't have any cracks. We don't have any, everything is paid for, so we don't have any cracks. I'm sure that's all it is. When people are saying they're getting crashes all the time, it's a 14-year-old computer. It is 2009, isn't it? Yeah. Early 2009. Lifesaver. Lifesaver. So the tiny amount of strings that are in there are now usable because of this. Oh, I do have an update of the computer. Oh, OX Sound have recently made, from what I've been told, I haven't gone to the page, they actually make it so you can buy that plugin on installments, in installments. My wife is here. I'm getting a look. We're here, ready to film. Okay, so what was who won? Who won the plugin? Who won the year's membership to Produce Like a Pro Academy? Andre! Woo! He's already a member, so you get an extra year. If you're already a lifetime member, you get that. I want to give a special shout out to DistroKid. I want everybody to download these multi-tracks. Please hit the like button. Let's do one more giveaway. You ordered the book and it's away to you. Yay! Please order the book. It's number 1 and number 2 best-selling books in music. Number 1 and number 2. Number 1 is the paperback. Number 2 is the hardback. If you want a signed copy, we do have to buy them and ship them to us, and then sign them and then ship them to you. And so it can be anywhere from $45 to $80 for us to ship. So unfortunately, they're expensive to do. So I apologize. But we will personalize it and sign it to you. Thank you, DistroKid. Let's do one more giveaway while we listen from the top. What can we do to give away? Well, first of all, the reason why we love DistroKid is because if you're a producer, an engineer, or a mixer, you can assign payments at source, meaning you don't have to wait for the artist to collect the money and then give it to you, which rarely, if never, happens. The only artist that's consistently paid me independently is Katie Laurel. Katie Laurel, we love you. You're amazing. You're stupidly talented. We do a lot of her tracks inside of the Academy. If you're not a member of the Academy, please join us. Katie Laurel's done that. Everybody else, the only way I actually get paid residual income from independent artists is because they use DistroKid. Use DistroKid for independent artist projects. Go and join now. It's 30% off. They don't normally do a third. They usually do a 10, or most other people. They're doing 30 for it. Go and join. Next time you do a project with somebody, put it up on DistroKid. Assign the ownership of the track to you and them. And from the first stream on, you will get paid. It's a completely life-changing thing, and I think it's $99 or something. I don't know if after 30% or before. The point is that it will pay for itself. It will pay for itself. It does pay for itself. I get proper residual income because we use it. Okay. What do I want to know? What's the question? Oh, what computer do you have? If you use a computer, what computer? What specs do you have? I just told you mine, 2009. What do you have? If you don't have a computer, say, I don't use a computer. However, you're all talking to me on your computers or your cell phone or whatever it is. What do you have? Give us the spec. Is it a PC? Is it a Mac? And what is the spec of it? What year is it? What RAM? Tell us. I'm really liking that. I'm going to lean the reverb a little bit more to the right so there's some bounce. Have a listen now. I think we did a wonderful job of compressing it and brightening it. All right, let's add the next section. All right, let's do the same thing to this one. Doesn't need to be as bright. Somebody's building their own computer. We do that as well for gaming. Okay, so we're going to add some reverb to that. And this one we're going to weight the other way, so I'm going to weight it towards the left. It's a little up there. I'm actually going to put a de-esser on it, believe it or not. I'm not going to put OX sound on it because I've already done 45 instances of it and my computer has not crashed. Note that. Anybody that says you can't use lots of them, I don't know what you're talking about. Honestly, really ridiculously good plugin. Oh, what a lifesaver! It's just the most generic de-esser in the world. It just took that horrible sounding high end out and got rid of it. This one I like. There's a lot of this Prophet I don't want to use, but this one I'm going to turn up. This out-tune dive bombing Prophet doesn't really work for me, but I am going to put some reverb on it. So, because at the moment it's a dry signal, you see, and the problem is with the synth going dry into, it just doesn't have that thing. Everybody else is live in a room, so let's make this feel like it was in the room going through an amp. Let's go back to this section. Agreed, Len. The Prophet was definitely doing some strange things.
That make me crazy. That make me crazy. That make me crazy.
Thanks, Karen. Won a jackpot with that. This bass player is phenomenal. Phenomenal.
I remember when I lost my mind.
This is coming out really well. I think one of the biggest things was using that global reverb. It's really, really helped because now it feels like the band back in a room. I don't know if Michael's released this track yet, but maybe this mix will be better than the one we did through the console. It's just, I love it.
That make me crazy. That make me crazy.
Thanks everybody for watching. Thank you DistroKid for sponsoring. We're about to do a TV interview for the book. So thank you everybody that's bought the book. If you haven't done it, please hit the link down below. And thank you to our sponsors DistroKid for doing this. Again, if you're an independent artist, if you're a producer, an engineer or a mixer, it's a lifesaver because the bread and butter of what we all do here is make money. That's the only way you're going to buy the gear. It's the only way you're going to keep doing what you love. And if you can get the artists that you work with, you come to a deal and you can get them to put it up on DistroKid and then sort out the revenue share at source, it is a lifesaver. And it might not be a big deal. Maybe you don't think it's a big deal, but I'm telling you, I've got like 50 or 60 different projects independently out there, and they're paying me anywhere from $5 a month to $100 a month. Do the math. Do the math. With those little things, you can make yourself an extra couple of $1,000 a month with multiple things just by doing it. Or you could be at the mercy of the artist who's never going to give you the accounting, not because they're mean, not because they're horrible people, but because it takes a lot of work. Let DistroKid do it for you. I cannot more highly support it. It's something we've been talking about inside of the Academy forever, but it's a brilliant tool. Get your independent artist. They put the music out. It creates a couple of $100 of streaming revenue. Nothing to write home about. However, that could be the difference of that day that you did for $100 only. And over that year, you make another $100. I know it sounds like peanuts. Do that now by 5, 10, 15, 20, 30, 40 different independent artists that you work with over the next year or two. You understand it's paying you a few thousand extra dollars a month of residual income that you are owed that you couldn't have got unless you do it. It's a really, really smart one. Then, of course, the old artist that goes off and streams multi-million streams all over different platforms, it's huge. I've got one independent artist, Trevor Hall. It was a record we put on Vanguard, but we have one of our songs has 76 million plays. It pays proper money. So That's just an independent artist, let alone, The Fray. We've got strong songs of over 1 billion plays. It does pay proper money when it adds up and you've got multiple things. So get your artist to use DistroKid. Use DistroKid. I'm not saying that it's a better streaming way of getting onto other things. Maybe they're all the same. The difference is like that business component, because it was started by a businessman, is a very, very smart differentiator because it allows you to assign who gets paid what. It's a really smart move, and it's great for us producers and engineers. And that's why I have no problem. I review a lot of things, and I'll give you my opinion who I think it's for, who the plugin which kind of person would like this plugin, which kind of person would like it. This is a product I think universally works for everybody. Great stuff. I love where we're at with this mix. I'm happy with this. I think there could be some more tweaking, but I think we're basically there. Let's do a new song next week, Eric. Chachi says, less paperwork. One more sales. Buy my book. Buy my book. It's not a big moneymaker, but it's a really big deal. 3 years in a row of us writing this. Jerry Hammock was incredible to sit down with me on a regular basis and do this with me. Thank you, Jerry. Yes, and as Erasmus says, please hit the like and share and all that kind of stuff. Thank you thanks ever so much. We could do some mastering with it. Yeah. Mix this track, download it, mix it, go sign up for DistroKid, buy my book. What else can I sell you? I'm just being silly. Point is like, I really enjoy doing this, and thank you, DistroKid, for supporting it, allowing us to do this. Next Monday, we'll have a new song, new multi-tracks. If you haven't downloaded these yet, please download them. Get the book. And you can master it. We could do some mastering on it. Why don't you mix it, Normand, and then master it? And if you're in the academy, you can... we can critique this as of this Friday. Anybody mix this yet? Yeah, I love doing this. Thank you. Thanks, everyone. So long. Farewell. La vida, and au revoir. Adios. Goodbye. Turn scenes.